I put these together through the years, and they're all based on the Golden Rule. And they all are do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I'll tell the story about how they came to be later, but I used to talk about why we shouldn't spank children, and then one of my students said, I don't think you should tell people what to do, what not to do. I think you should tell people what to do. And I said, duh. I can't believe I've been doing this. So I started that day. I got my students. I wrote 30 alternatives to corporal punishment, alternatives to hitting, and then I got my students through the years to add to them. And I used to name the principles after anybody that would come up with a new one. I'm talking about the 101s. I used to name any student who would come up with a new one. I would name it after them. And then I had my students learning the 101s, and they said, oh, it was too hard to have to learn the name of the person that wrote it, so we dropped all the names of the people that wrote it. But I got up to 60 and 75 and 100, and then one of my friends says, you really should do 100. So I did 101, got to that. Decided to stop there. Sometimes I change some. And some of them are redundant, and some of them sort of say the same thing, but they're different ways to stay connected to children. And whenever somebody embarrasses you, punishes you, hurts you in any way, of course if they hit you, it distances you from them, and you don't want to be around them. And so that's what these are all about, keeping that from happening. And we'll talk a lot about whether or not you need to. How many of you had Dr. Polanco? Okay. Dr. Polanco is the person in sociology who is very much against hitting children too. Did you all study that?
I actually heard about this class when you came and talked in your class.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Were you there too?
Yeah.
Good. That's how they came along. Now they are undergraduates in another discipline. Let me find out what your major is.
Psychology.
Psychology.
Yeah, psychology. Human services.
And your
Speech pathology.
oh, good. Well, you're in the right building.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had other classes here?
No, but my advisor is right down the hall.
Who is that?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Good. I'm glad you so these are undergraduates. These 4 people are undergraduates. There are 2 more people coming in that class. And they are not hoping to be teachers, but we're putting them into opportunities to be with the children here in the classroom for this semester. And some people have changed their majors after being with the children, but it doesn't always happen. But I feel like the 101s help everybody to be kind to children. It's really Mrs. Brady's one rule: be kind to children. Hi, how are you, Stacy? I'm so glad you're here. Come join us. Would you like some water or a snack? This is Stacy Fox, and I've taught Stacy before, so I have to know who Stacy is. So Stacy, you can put your name tag on. And there are six students in your class, and we're meeting right now with the 4 in a seminar with the people who are doing their practicums in child studies, and they're in another class. How are you?
Good. I got a little such up in screening since the time changed.
Oh.
Because it says online that it's at 11. Did you know that?
No.
Our class is from 11 to 1:30.
Oh. Oh, good. We don't have to stay the whole time. It's actually 12 to 1:30. So I'm telling about the 101. Do you have a copy? Do you need a copy? Here is a copy. The 101s, like I say, are based on the golden rule, and you never say or do to a child what you wouldn't want somebody to do to you. And I always call it, it's raining on the grass and not the weeds. And raining on the grass, if you rain on the weeds, what do you get more of? Weeds. And this is the hardest thing for our students to really get a grasp on. If you rain on the weeds, you get more weeds. If you rain on the grass, you get more grass. So if you focus on what you want to see more of, then you get more of it. If you focus on what you don't want to see more of, then you get more of that. So, for example, if you tell a child to stop running, you're focusing on his running, and it makes him really want to keep running because he hears the word running. So what we want to do, instead of focusing on what he's doing wrong, is to focus on what we want him to do. And oftentimes we just tell a child, stop, stop, don't do that, don't do that. But we don't tell him what we want him to do. And we may not even know what we want him to do. We just don't want him to do that. So if we don't know what we want him to do, how will we know what he should be doing? So what the whole focus of all of this class and 101s is to focus on what we want to see more of. So if you were, instead of saying stop running, what would you say?
Say, how about we use our walking feet?
That's good. Have you been working with children?
Yeah. So it's
That's great. That's great. Tell us your experiences with children.
Well, I volunteer at the Park Place Child Life Center, and the ages run from, I believe, 5 to up to teenage, like 17 or 18. So you get the whole dynamic of, you know, how to talk to a child. Instead of talking at them, you would talk like with them, yeah, as they were a person. So it's second nature. I also volunteer at Hot Meals and Homework at 4Kids.
You do? At 4Kids? Good for you.
I love it. I love it. It's a great program, and it really makes a difference for the kids.
How often do you go there?
Last semester I went every Monday through Thursday. So it was great.
Monday through Thursday?
Because I had the time. It was from 5 to 6:30.
Wow.
So it's not that long. It's very fun too. I like it.
And
Where is
they,
it?
It's off of college. It's like if you take, it's right across from that, I think it's called University Auto Shop, but it's right at that corner.
it's not very far
It's
from you.
not very far. It's great.
We should do a field trip over
Yeah, it's very fun. It's really nice.
there. Would they let you come?
Just to check if you wanted to see, you know, the office and everything.
Tell us what goes on there.
At 4Kids. Well, it's an organization for homeless families, and they have various programs such as like career counseling, after-school care, baby hugging.
Baby hugging?
Yeah, it's where volunteer, they take care of the a baby while the parent goes and does whatever, like fills out applications or needs a resume done, anything like that. And the hours vary, but it's a really good experience. I haven't done it yet, but I've heard great things about it.
It's wonderful what they do.
They do a lot.
I know.
Yeah, it's really, really great. I hope to get an internship there, because it would be really good to have experience there.
That's great. Tell me about your experiences with children.
I just did my volunteer orientation for 4Kids to do the same thing last week. I worked at Horizons. It's a summer enrichment program for like low-income homeschool students. So I was a third grade teacher's assistant over the summer. And then before that, I worked as a dance teacher assistant. So I work with like 3-year-olds to like high school students.
Really? Have you been dancing all your life?
Yeah.
That's great. That's nice. Thanks. How about yours?
I spent the summer working at St. Mary's Home for the Safe of Children.
You did? Wow. Good for
It
you.
was a great experience. It's really rewarding there. I love it.
Was that a paid position?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Tell us about there. Who's there?
They have children that are severe to profound mentally retarded, and a lot of them have cerebral palsy and other severe complications. Many of them are unable to talk or walk, they're wheelchair bound, but they're the happiest kids. That's the greatest part about them, is that they're all so happy. They're well taken care of. That's their home. They do everything there. They see the doctor there, the barber, they have class. It's really a great place. I love it.
Are the parents very involved?
Some of them aren't as much. But the ones that aren't able to come and directly see the child, they have Skype set up on like weekly or bi-weekly schedule.
Do you know how many children there are?
They have 88 last time I was there.
Is that
And they just started, and it's supposed to be starting this fall, actually. They built a facility in the back that holds like up to 12, I think it's 12 rooms for the older kids who age out. And when they reach 21, they have to go somewhere where they're building somewhere in the back for them to go, so they don't have to leave the home, because some of those kids have been there their entire lives, 18 years.
Where is St. Mary's?
It's off of Kempsville.
I know it used to be downtown.
They moved about 5 years ago or so.
Is it a nice facility?
Oh, it's awesome. They have so much going there. They even have an outdoor pool now that it's more therapeutic than anything. The kids think it's fun, but it's like 90 degrees in there. In the pool, I haven't been in the pool. 100 degrees in the summer and then 90 degrees in the pool now. But the kids really enjoy it. And they have a lot of modified toys and playground equipment. It was an awesome place.
That's great.
Yeah, they really do. Those kids are loved.
Tell us about your experiences with children. Stacey.
Well, in high school, I went to Montessori school with 4 and 5-year-olds. And then once I got to college, I work at the CDC across campus, and I went to 2 and 3-year-olds. So I've been with kids my whole life, too. In the daycare atmosphere.
Aren't you with Miss Kim? Oh.
With the 2 and 3-year-olds, well, 2-year-olds.
Okay.
They're all getting up there.
Okay. Tell us about your experiences with children.
She's Tilda. Yeah, I have 2 of my own, so it's a constant experience. I would say before then, I did a lot of things with children. I danced and taught dance for a while, gymnastics. When I was younger, I played basketball at basketball camps. It seemed like I was always around kids. When I went to church, I always helped with the children's group there. And I've been in this center twice, and I've been in other centers. I've been in several Hampton schools, so I've had a lot of experiences. For anyone that's having their first one here, it's a very valuable experience to have. Take your time. It's a worthy experience because it's a lot of fun. You learn a lot.
Yes. How about your experiences with children?
It probably didn't start till my nieces and nephews came, probably about 7 years ago. So then I was like, oh, I like babies. And then I started working at my church nursery, and then I think that's when I started the teacher program, and that's where I really felt where like this is where I'm supposed to be. So since then I've been in public school, so this is my first experience at the Child Study Center, like this young, but.
Do you know what grade you prefer?
Not really. I actually like them all. You just really have to be there from the beginning, because I know 4th and 5th grade, it's hard when you come in and they're like, hey. But if they start to get to know you, like I spent like 40 hours with them last semester, and by the end they were all like, don't leave. So it's really about connecting with them at that point.
And children gravitate so quickly.
So quickly.
To
I had some sitting in my lap that were today. I was like, okay, been here an hour.
that
But okay. They're really cute.
How did it go this morning?
It went really well.
Where were you?
Miss
Charlton.
Charlie. I want to say Chamberlain, but yeah. But yeah, within 20 minutes, some had their heads on my laps and they were like, hi. So they're adorable.
Miss Charlton uses the 101s
Yes.
all the time.
It was a really good experience today. Yeah, that's it.
How about your experiences with Charlton?
I also worked at the Sunday school at my church, and I did help with gymnastics when I did gymnastics. But my uncle actually owns a school, so I would work there after I was finished with school, and it was a summer camp in the summer, so I got to work with them. It's nice because I had to work with my family and kids too, so best of both worlds. But yeah, I've been with kids for a long time, and all my cousins I've been babysitting forever, so.
What school does your uncle have?
Well, I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Brookside School, but it's infant through 8th grade. So I kind of got a feel of everything. So, and with working with them after school, as more kids go home, you combine with the older kids too. So I really did get a feel for every age group that they had.
So you're from New Jersey?
Yeah.
How'd you find us?
Well, believe it or not, when I got here, my major was marine biology.
wow.
And I worked at the aquarium at in my town too, so I was with kids there too. But I think working there kind of made me realize that I didn't want to do that so much. So I came here and I took one of their classes, career and major exploration, and it actually helped me figure out my major. So that's how I got here.
Yeah.
And my grandparents live in Farmville, so it's where Longwood is, and I didn't really like Longwood, but they were like, there's another school kind of close, so 3 hours is not very close.
Farmville's a little bit of a way
Yeah.
away. That's nice.
I love it here.
That's great. How about you?
Well, I was a teacher assistant at a Christian academy. It is from preschool to 5th grade, and I work with the preschoolers just from the morning to the afternoon. And then I became a camp counselor for 3 years in the summer. And I also do Sunday school with preschoolers at my church. And we actually have a huge vacation Bible school. We have like 700 kids come, and I'm actually the director of it. So
What church?
Northside Christian Church. It's in York County, where I'm from. My aunt is the children's minister, so she kind of puts everything together, but I'm in charge of placing all the kids according to age and grade and all the 300 plus volunteers. So
Oh my goodness.
it's a lot of work. So I'm taking classes this summer, and so I told my aunt, I was like, I hope I can, take on the task again at BBS. But it's really rewarding to see, because we take in kids that don't go to our church, and they just open up to you and just talk to you, and sometimes they need someone to talk to. And we actually, just one of my volunteers was talking to a little girl, and we found out that she was being abused, and she never told anyone, but she just felt comfortable enough to tell an adult. And so, we took matters in our hands and took care of that. But it really is just a rewarding program for me, and I think for the kids too. So
That's
I
amazing.
enjoy it.
That's good. That's good. Okay, well, today I wanted to talk about safety, because all of you will be eventually with children, and so we need to keep them safe, of course. And I also like to talk about Tavern, and so I'll combine what I'm talking about. And let me just say that the number one important thing for you to always remember is safety, and counting the children when they come out and when they go in, making sure that you can find every child. And I could tell you some amazing stories about children that have gotten away from other people. And we've had children here who got left. We had children who got left in the bathroom when the class went outside. We used to be on the second floor of this building, and one of the times, one of the teachers went outside, and then somebody came out and said, the water's leaking through the ceiling in our conference room, and the teacher ran upstairs, and this child had been in the bathroom letting the water run forever, and it was all over the floor and leaking through the ceiling, and she had not missed the child. There was another child who was left here from a field trip, and the teacher, the child also was in the bathroom, and the teacher left for the field trip, and when the child came out of the bathroom, there was nobody here. And this child waited in the classroom for 2 hours, just sat there all by himself. I know it. We were just amazed that he did that so patiently.
How old was he?
4.
Oh, wow.
I know. I mean, he didn't even go down the hall and say, what's going on? Another child was left during a field fire drill when the teachers left for a fire drill, and then when they were ready to come back in, the teacher didn't have enough children and missed one of them and was just sending up all kinds of alerts about where could this child be. And then found the child on the cot, still asleep, with a blanket over his head. Actually, I was called one time by a judge who asked me my opinion about a child who the teacher, this was a elementary school child, probably first grade, the teacher had sent the child to the office to carry a note, and when the child came back from the office, she looked out the door and saw her mother's car in the driveway, and so she went running out, and she was hit by a car as she went running out to her mother's car. And so the judge was asking me my opinion about whether this teacher should be held accountable for sending the child to the office without supervision. So then we've also had student teachers who had the experience of, one of our student teachers had the experience of being used as a sub, and then the sub was taking the children outside, and when the sub was to bring the children back, the sub took the children to a resource instead, and then the principal came to this student teacher who had stayed in the room, came and brought this child to her and said this child was left on the playground, and it's your fault. Well, none of us thought it was the student teacher's fault, but the principal was so upset and said, I'll never hire you in this building. And that was very upsetting to her. So and then my classic story is when I first started teaching, my own son had his tonsils out in a hospital, and I went to the hospital to see my son, and on my way back to the school where I was working, I saw a child walking, and I stopped and asked her, where are you going? And she said, home. Well, she was about a quarter of a mile from the school, but she lived 7 miles away, so she thought she was going home. And I picked her up, took her back to school, and the school had not missed her. And it was just, just a stroke of luck. I think guardian angels are looking after children because there's so many that get left different places. Many children have gotten left on buses when they fell asleep, and the bus driver didn't check to make sure their child was gone. So my reason for bringing up all that is to convince you how important it is to keep up with everybody. And children can get away from you like check us out from the social services, and comes out and says to you how many children are in your classroom that are out here right now. So you're supposed to always know how many children. And our teachers are well informed and they take good care. Yeah, but I'm just telling you that for information to always remember that that's the most important thing we can be doing, is always be watching. Have you all had any cases down in of children getting left or children getting?
I went back home with it, but they got left in the parking lot. They didn't see if they
Yeah.
That was scary.
It is scary. I just think there's, like I say, children might have guardian angel because there's so many ways that they could get hurt. But tattling is one of my favorite words, and I always say that tattling is a word that we use for things we don't want to hear. And tattling has a bad name because we say to children, don't tattle. And yet, if a child came to you and told you something important, like the principal's at the door, you wouldn't say, oh, don't tattle. Or the trash can's on fire, you wouldn't say, oh, well, don't tattle. I think we use tattle for a word that when children come to us and what they say to us is bothersome and we don't really know what to say. So I have a different take on all that. And I think that every time a child comes to you, it's an honor. Now that it takes you a while to kind of get the hang of that. But every time a child comes to you, it's an honor. And the reason I say that is because that child has chosen to come to you because there's something that child needs and thinks that you can give them. And so instead of pushing children away, I would like to embrace the children as they come and take them seriously. So there are lots of ways to take a child seriously. Teachers are known for not listening to children. Oh, go away. Oh, don't worry about that. Lock it in your brain. Tell me later. That kind of thing. And children know who's going to dismiss them and who's not going to dismiss them. So I want to encourage you to be the kind of person that accepts children when they come. And so there are lots of ways that we can accept children. By either paying attention to what they say, turning and looking at them, getting on their eye level. One of the 101s is to get on the child's eye level, and one of the 101s is to whisper. And I love those two together, get on the child's eye level and whisper, because that makes the child feel so important. Anytime you whisper to a child, it makes him sit up. Anytime I whisper, if I whisper to her, she would listen to me, wouldn't she? She would care and probably do something about it. So whispering to a child when they come with a complaint, I think that it's good for us to take them seriously and listen. So let's look at this sheet of paper. The ones on the left are ones that a lot of teachers say, don't tattle, mind your own business, go play somewhere else, find another friend. It's not a big deal, you'll be okay, I'm sure he didn't mean it, she's just having a bad day. Have you heard any of those things? Yeah, you heard them all? Yeah. They're dismissive. And so what we want to do is make the child glad that he came to you and also learn something from it. So on the right-hand side, I've got other things that we can say. So when a child comes to you and says, he hit me, or he said a bad word, the best and easiest thing to say is, I'm sorry. And you can put your arm around the child, you can get down and look at him in the face, you can whisper to him, I'm sorry, but really mean it. Not, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. And about 90% of the time, that's enough. The child just wants somebody to care and somebody to be sorry. So I want you to learn that, and your teachers will all probably say that a lot. You'll probably hear that a lot. Do you ever hear that? Yeah. And then you can move on down the list if the child's still there. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for telling me. I'm glad you told me. I would never do that to you. Mrs. Brady says this a lot. Have you heard her say any of that?
Not today, but
She will. She's master at all of this. I would never do that to you. I'll be watching from now on is a really good one, and that's another thing I wanted to encourage you to do is to, on the playground, to make sure that you don't talk to other adults, but that you move around the playground, and that you watch the children who are off in the corners and make yourself available to them, because they're often the ones that, if they know an adult is nearby, they're much more self-controlled if they don't know there's an adult nearby. So I'll be watching from now on, and then you move close to the scene. I'm sorry your ears had to hear that. I'm sorry your eyes had to see that. That's kind of a fun one to say, and we often say that. Mrs. Brady says that to me. We say all these things to adults as well. I'm sorry your feelings were hurt. Kiss your brain for doing the right thing, coming to tell an adult and not hitting or hurting someone else. If we don't teach children, I wanted to say that on the playground, children have to kind of fend for themselves and learn who's in charge and learn their place. And I say that we have to teach children how to deal with yang, 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 yang. And yang, 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 yang is all over the world. It's in every language, it's in every playground. And it's really in everybody's life, because I have to listen to people who are over me who say, like it or not, this is the job, and you'll either do it or you'll leave. And so yang, 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 yang is something that we all will hear all our lives in some form or other. I could say to you, yang, 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 you're in this class, so you have to do what I tell you to do to get a grade, get a passing grade. I mean, if you think about it, there are always conditions. So what we want to do is to help children learn to negotiate the playground, how to negotiate their place on the playground. And if you think back on your own experience, can any of you think about playground experiences that were good or bad?
It's like I can remember swinging on the swings, but then all this other stuff keeps popping up in my head. I was rambunctious on the playground. I can remember getting in fights with little boys and getting pinned up against the fence. Those are just the things that are popping up in my head. There was this one incident that became kind of a big issue in the school. I don't know, there's some kind of trend going around where you would, I don't know if they called it shanking. Just run up behind somebody and pull their pants down. You know what I'm talking about? Just like to embarrass someone. Well, somehow or another it got into this elementary school I was in. So you would just be playing and someone would run up behind you and do that to you. I mean, of course, it was extremely embarrassing. And well, one day I got blamed for doing it. But it wasn't me that had done it. I had to go to the principal's office, and I got in all this big trouble. My mom had to come up there, and I didn't even do anything, but there were 2 other kids that were both blaming me. So it was like they even had 2 people against me, and I really never did it. I was so embarrassed that they had put it on me, but it definitely could have been handled much better. Definitely. Because it was happening quite often. They should have dealt with it a different way, I think. But I'm from Tennessee, in case y'all are all wondering, where did this happen? Yeah.
Did your mother believe you?
Oh yeah, she believed me. I wasn't one to, I didn't lie. I wasn't like that. I mean, like I said, I was rambunctious and I was always kind of into stuff, but I wasn't one to say, oh no, it wasn't me. If I did it, I would usually fess up. So, and I was really upset about that because they were blaming me and I didn't do it.
Did you know who had done it?
No, I didn't know. So I couldn't blame anybody else, you know, but I knew that I hadn't done it. I was like, it even happened to me, you know. Like, it was embarrassing. So they could have handled it much differently.
How would you think they could have handled it better?
Well, the first couple of times that it happened, they should have made an example out of it or really talked to those children that had done it. Because after it happened a few times, oh, it was just so funny. You know, all the kids think it's funny, and all the adults are just like, this is not going to be good wherever this is going, you know. But I don't really know how they would have put an end to it. But I think after my situation, I don't think it happened much anymore because it turned into a big deal. You know, I'm not real sure how they should have stopped it because I really can't remember, like if it was happening just on the playground or if it was at a certain time. I really can't remember. It was like 4th grade, so.
Oh, 4th grade, that's terrible.
Yeah, and that's when you're kind
I
of
was
starting to be
kindergarten.
you're kind of awkward and everything.
Oh,
you know?
that's terrible.
It was terrible. So hopefully nothing like that will
Anybody else have
happen.
anything like that happen?
That actually did go around my school.
That actually,
Yeah, like
believe it or
Pokemon
not,
cards.
that did kind of go around my school,
No,
but it was the intermediate school, so it was 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
even worse.
So,
Yeah.
but it was a lot, it was mostly girls, and they would be wearing sweatpants. Like, it was like a certain clique of girls who would kind of do it to each other more for attention from everyone else.
Probably
I
so,
think.
yeah.
But they did handle it well. They suspended, I think, 2 or 3 of them, and after that it ended quick.
Yeah, I bet.
Imagine a child explaining that to their parent. Well, I was suspended because I beat pants people.
Oh, so be prepared for anything. Really.
Yeah.
That's not something you're prepared for, no matter how much school you have.
But it does kind of make you realize what children are all about.
Yeah.
And that they are curious about each other and they like to see what who they can upset, that kind of thing. So it's not that horrible. It's just that we need to help children to deal with it in a good way. I've seen teachers who took a child's word for it, and I've seen that even here, where a child says, "He hit me," and then the teacher says, "Who hit you?" "Johnny did." "Johnny, you come over here and sit down." And Johnny's in timeout. But I didn't see that happen. And I've seen children come back and say, "I got him in trouble. I got him in trouble. Look, he's having timeout." And, you know, it really wasn't fair. So that one of the things I suggest is that you never punish for something you didn't see. So if you didn't see it, just assume that you don't know that it happened. But that makes you have to be aware of the importance of looking next time, watching for that. I also suggest that you don't ever ask a child a question that you know that you already know the answer to. So, did you hit him? No. No, I didn't. I saw you hit him. Well, why did you ask me then? Because when you do that, you're tempting a child to lie to you. So I would say, "I saw you hit him." "I didn't hit him. I saw you hit him." So then we deal with what happened instead of a shaming the child for doing it. So what shall we do about it? So over here on the right side, you must have felt so sad. Can you tell him or her how that made you feel? And you'll see that our children often are able to talk about their feelings because it's been encouraged so much to tell them how you feel. What do you think you could do to work it out? Can you take care of it? Is there something I can do to help you? That's my very favorite line in the whole world. So you might want to remember that one. Is there something I can do to help you? How can I help you? Instead of fussing at a child for doing something wrong and saying, you need to shape up, if you say, how can I help you? What can I help you to do? That is a huge difference in fussing at the child and engaging the child and offering to help the child to figure it out. So it's much better for for a child to know that we're in there to help them. I remember one time my son kept forgetting to leave notes about where he was, and I would get home and not have any idea where he was. And so I said to him, I really need to know where you are, so what's going to help you to learn to remember to leave notes? And he said, well, you could keep me in for a week. And I said, a week? What, did it take a week? And he said, well, maybe one day. You could keep me in for a day. And I said, well, do you think that'll help? And he said, yes. So that day, he wrote notes. He said, I'm at Johnny's telephone number. I'm at Billy's number. And forever after that, he just used the appropriate cards. He would put the card in. So he came up with a system that worked, and I'm in the field playing ball, or I'm at somebody's house. And so I always thought about how creative that was, that he came up with some system that worked forever after that. So if you just can help the child to figure out some way, and how can I help you to figure that out? That's what we really want to do. Could the two of you choose a third person to help you solve the problem? That's for older children, but oftentimes that will help. And then you can, if the child wants to go to talk to the child, you can go walk with the child and says, Johnny, Mary has something to tell you, but then you let Mary say it. You don't say it for her. So that's helping Mary to get the courage to tell Johnny how he feels. And then if none of that works, and if the child's still there, and the child still seems to be upset, you can say to the child, I'll take care of it. And sometimes the child says, oh goody, I'm going to get her in trouble. And then you say to the child, I'll take care of it, you run on. And you don't let the child know how you're going to take care of it. And that's huge important, because if the child thinks he got the other child in trouble, he will continue to do that. And he will do that forever. And he'll try to get other children in trouble. But if he doesn't see that he got somebody in trouble, then he's not tempted to repeat that. So you run on and I'll take care of it. So I go over and say to Leah, I go over to Leah. The child just said, Leah hit me. And I go over and look at Leah, or I get down on my knee and look at Leah, and she says, what? What do you think she says?
Sorry. I don't know.
What?
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
Oh, well, yeah.
I didn't do it. Usually children say, I didn't do it. And I say, you didn't do what, honey? You didn't do what? I didn't hit him. I didn't say you did. So it's so important. And if the child acts innocent, like Leah was really innocent, so she, why are you down on your knees looking at me? then I could say, Leah, you have such pretty hair. I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to mention it. But I do have to become aware of the fact that this might be happening. And so then I make myself watch from then on. Watch Leah's behavior. Watch the interaction that those two children have. Let's say a child throws paper out the window, and Mary tells me, Sarah threw the paper out the window, and I say, thank you for telling me, and then the child hopes they got Sarah in trouble, but I don't do anything about it. But then when we go outside and I see paper under the window, I say, Sarah, would you pick up the paper? And she said, I didn't throw it there. I said, I didn't say you did, honey, but would you just pick it up? And so then Sarah knows that I know that she threw the paper out the window. And then the next day I watch Sarah to make sure that she doesn't throw any more paper out the window. So then if this is an ongoing issue on the playground or when children are left up to their own devices, then you decide that it's time to have a meeting and have everybody talk about it. And we had a teacher here, a male teacher in that classroom down there who was wonderful. He would say, we're going to have a 5-second theater, and he would tell people to play roles of what happened on the playground, but not the children that were involved, but 2 other children that he would have. And then he would say, now what could we do about it if this happens to you? What could we do about it? And we've even had 2-year-old teachers of 2-year-olds say, what could you do about it if that happens to you? So then you go around in a circle and let everybody decide what they can do about it. What do children down in your class, what are they taught to do if a child comes over to them? Are they taught to say, go away?
We try to make them use their words and say no, thank you, or walk away, or no, mine, at least at the simplest, because it's usually about taking toys or just being in their space.
Did you say no, mine?
Just the short and simple, because it's usually about a toy. We just had that last week. Everyone was taking everyone's toys, or they're bopping them on the head. And we tell them to be gentle and be nice to their friends, and that hurts them. And if they cry, we address that.
That's so neat. And no thank you, right? No thank
all
you.
day.
No thank you. Tell children to say no thank you. And that's so, I love it. My grandson came here to school, and both my grandchildren did for when they were little. And one time my daughter said that her husband was down on the floor trying to get Ben to get his medicine, take his medicine, and he was saying, no thank you, no thank you. Some parents don't like it that the children are saying no thank you because they don't like the children to tell them that. But I think it's helping children to speak up for themselves, so I'm not sure that I agree with that. So then the last one is to role play, make up a story, use a third party, ask the children. But it's important for us to help children to learn to deal with what happens to them. That's my point. Any questions about that? Let's see that.
Do I need this way to get asked me to come in a few minutes early? Should I go ahead and run down?
Yeah, you should. Yeah, good luck.
Thank you. I'm excited to hear this too. And hopefully some places recognize.
Yeah, so we'll see you next Monday.
She said there was none next month.
Yeah, it's
So-
hard to
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So no.
Oh, no seminar then. Okay, so that's
2 Mondays from now. Ladies, have a good day.
And because of the seminar, it's added into the hours, so you don't have to make up a Martin Luther King Day. You don't have to add the hours in of the day. So that's great.
So that's counted as, okay.
Yeah.
And do I need you to sign the extra hour or just have this
Charlton to sign the whole block from 9 to 1?
She'll just sign it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
She knows.
She knows where you're going. Good. Okay, we also need to teach children how to speak up for themselves, and we tell them to walk away, say no thank you, I don't like that, please stop, that hurts my feelings. And then the last thing is for them to go get an adult. And of course, we want to be available if they come to get us. So, anybody have any ideas, any thoughts on what I've shared with you about Tadman?
I've seen some of the other options, but some of them are really interesting. Like, I haven't seen as many different approaches to it. But in one of the classrooms I've seen, they have Tina the Tattle Teddy, I guess. And she kind of sits on the shelf. And the kids in general, it's really surprising that they know what things to tell Tina and what things to tell Miss Christina, the teacher.
Oh.
So Tina is like a little version of Christina, and they're really smart. They know which ones are more important for Tina to know and for Tina to know. So I think that's another like, interesting way
That's
to
so
approach
funny that
it.
they do that. So does the
And they
teacher
really
ever
do.
say, go tell Tina instead of tell me?
She'll ask them in general, she'll say, do you think that's something you should tell Tina, or do you think that's something you should tell me? And they'll think about it, and then they'll be like, I'll go tell Tina. And then I'll walk over to her. And it's surprising, like, I've been in that classroom a couple times, and they will go to Tina before they even go to the teacher, and they really do it. They really do. Like, I was like, oh.
Does it make them feel better?
It definitely does, because then once they tell her, they go do something else. They need to get it off their chest.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that. I've heard of people getting shamed, like go stand on the and put your nose in the corner. Yeah, for tattling, and that's, I think, horrible. I mean, I would never shame a child, never embarrass a child like that. But that's so interesting to tell Tina instead of Miss Tina.
What grade is that?
Pre-K. Yeah.
Do you think you would want to tell Tina something?
Maybe when I was in pre-K. Now I'd be like, I'm not gonna go tell Bear, but they have like emotional attachments to all the rules with me. So they really believe that she's listening. Probably.
She has little outfits, like they're allowed to pick her outfit depending on the season. She's like a Build-A-Bear bear, so they have a whole bunch of different clothes for her.
Well, I guess that could be comforting to tell the bear. Okay, well, good luck to you all this week, the 4 of you who are
The 1, 2 left. Karen didn't go, and then we already left.
Yeah.
So it's just 2 of you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you all can go then, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, but I'll be in your classroom.
Okay. Do you want me just to wait for you, or?
Yeah, but that's.
I mean, whatever works for you.
Either now or 3 is good.
No, you can go on.
Oh, I can? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be ready now.
We've got enough on the table.
Okay. That's good.
Let's do a bag of chips.
If you all will take your chairs and put them out in the, out there, that would be just the 2 of you. That's all we need.